In 1905, a British traveler left Jerusalem alone, bound for the deserts east of the Jordan River. Her name was Gertrude Bell, and over the coming months she would cross some of the harshest terrain in the Middle East, gathering intelligence, tribal alliances, and a first-hand understanding of the political landscape that no man or woman in her government yet possessed. Her journey began not with a grand convoy or a military escort, but with a few mules, a small hired staff, and a storm rolling in from the Mediterranean. It was the 5th of February. Bell watched the wind rise from the sea, sweeping across the plain where the Canaanites waged war with the stubborn hill dwellers of Judea, then racing over the eastern slopes and into the desert. She mounted her horse with her staff, a cook, a few muleteers, and pack animals carrying tents, maps, food, and camera gear, and turned her face east. Of that moment, she wrote,
"To those bred under an elaborate social order, few such moments of exhilaration can come as that which stands at the threshold of wild travel. You feel the bands break that were riveted about your heart as you enter the path that stretches across the rounded shoulder of the earth."
As Bell descended from the Mount of Olives toward Jericho, she passed one of the many Russian Orthodox pilgrim groups making their way up from the River Jordan. They had come from across the vast Russian Empire, old men and women who had saved their entire lives to make this pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Bell observed,
"In the winter, you will seldom pass there without seeing some Russian peasants resting on their laborious way up from Jordan. 10,000 of them pour yearly into the Holy Land."
They traveled as deck passengers on small Russian steamers, sleeping in the open and bringing their own food, bread, onions, and olives.
Morning and evening they gathered in prayer before an icon hanging on the cook's galley, and the sound of their litanies went to heaven, mingled with the throb of the screw and the splash of the spray. Many die from exposure and fatigue and the unaccustomed climate, but to die in Palestine is the best of favors that the divine hand can bestow.
Bell and her companions reached the wooden trestle bridge over the Jordan, a structure she described as
the most inspiring piece of architecture in the world, since it is the gate of the desert.
They made camp in a sheltered place beside the bridge, wary of Turkish troops being marched south toward Yemen. In 1905, the Ottoman Empire was engaged in a protracted and brutal military campaign to suppress a rebellion in Yemen, where Zaydi tribal leaders had been resisting central Ottoman control since the late 19th century. The campaign was costly, chaotic, and deeply unpopular, drawing thousands of poorly equipped conscripts from across Syria and Anatolia. Bell knew that encountering these troops, often suspicious of foreigners and erratically supplied, could jeopardize her journey. Around the fire that night, a local worker entertained them with tales of these very soldiers, how they came down in rags, their boots dropping from their feet, though it was but the first day's march, half-starved too, poor wretches. He also shared gossip from the desert, including tribal conflict between Ibn Saud and Ibn Rashid in Arabia, early signs of a power struggle that would reshape the region. Her staff was small, but around the campfire their voices created a chorus of regional dialects.
There was a babel of Arabic tongues round my campfire that evening. Mikhail spoke the vulgar Cockney of Jerusalem, Habib a dialect of the Lebanon at immense speed, and Mohammed had the Beiruti drawl, while from the Negro's lips fell something approaching to the virile and splendid speech of the Bedouin.
The next morning, Bell met a Syrian Arab who had come to the bridge too late to join his military unit. He wasn't dismayed. He was planning a journey of his own.
"Next year, please God, I shall go to America."
Between 1890 and 1920, over 100,000 Syrians, mostly from Mount Lebanon, emigrated to North and South America. Drought, high taxes, collapsing silk markets, and conscription under the Ottoman Empire pushed them out, Many became peddlers and laborers in New York, São Paulo, and Buenos Aires. Bell asked the man if he spoke English.
"No," he replied calmly, "but I shall have saved the price of the journey, and, by God, here there is no advancement."
That afternoon, she climbed into the hills and arrived in the town of Salt, a highland settlement in what is now western Jordan, near Amman. Once a key administrative center in Ottoman Transjordan, Salt held strategic and commercial importance along routes linking the desert interior to the Levantine coast. There, in driving mist, she sought out Habib Faris, a local Arab Christian and a key contact, the son-in-law of her former Arabic tutor in Haifa, a preacher who had filled Bell's language lessons with tales of the desert and stories of his own son, Nemrud, who now worked with Faris. This family connection was the basis of her trust. Bell would rely on them to secure safe passage into tribal lands.
Habib Faris considered, and finally we hammered out a plan between us. With an escort from them, I could ride up in safety to the hills.
That night, she stayed at the home of a wealthy Christian, Yusuf Effendi. Hospitality was ritualized. Coffee was served and accepted in a language older than writing.
We settled down to coffee, the bitter black coffee of the Arabs, which is better than any nectar. The cup is handed with a deign to accept. You pass it back empty, murmuring, "May you live." As you sip, someone ejaculates, "A double health," and you reply, "Upon your heart."
Late that night, Bell glimpsed the mistress of the house, a woman of a striking beauty, dressed in indigo robes, with delicate tattooing on her face and neck. She came in silently, poured water for Bell to wash, and disappeared.
No one sees Yusuf's wife. Christian though he be, he keeps her more strictly cloistered than any Muslim woman. And, perhaps after all, he is right.
Bell lay down on thick quilts, rain tapping at the window, the outlines of her next move drawn. She had crossed the bridge, dodged the army, and found the key to the desert tribes. The journey into the unknown was just beginning.